After a long, draining day at the hospital, Melanie Carter finally pulled into her driveway just as the sun dipped behind the trees. The California heat still lingered in the air, clinging to her skin as she turned off the engine and slumped against the steering wheel. She loved being a nurse, she really did, but today had been particularly exhausting. 12 hours on her feet, 5 critical patients, 1 family breakdown, and 2 emergencies had left her completely spent. She reached for her water bottle, empty of course, and sighed. Her feet throbbed in her shoes, her lower back ached from bending over patients, and her mind couldn't hold another thought. She wanted nothing more than to take a hot shower, change into something soft, and collapse into bed. But the idea of even climbing the stairs to her bedroom felt like climbing a mountain. The porch light flicked on as she approached the front door, and a familiar face appeared behind the screen. Her stepson, Noah Carter. He was 22 now, tall and solid with sandy blonde hair and kind brown eyes. He had just returned home a few months ago after finishing his degree in sports therapy and was waiting to start his job at a local clinic. "Hey Mel," he said, pushing open the door. "You look like you've been through a hurricane." Melanie tried to laugh, but all that came out was a groan. "Don't remind me. I might need a forklift to get upstairs tonight." Noah stepped aside to let her in, then gently took her tote bag off her shoulder and set it down. "Sit. I'll grab you some water." She sank onto the couch with a sigh of relief, untying her shoes and kicking them off. Her scrubs clung to her like a second skin, damp with sweat and smelling faintly of antiseptic. Her head dropped back against the cushion, eyes closed. "Thanks," she murmured when he returned with a cold glass of water. "You're welcome. Want me to heat up some food? I saved you some of the stir-fry I made earlier." "You're a lifesaver," she said, opening her eyes and giving him a weak smile. "I swear if you weren't here, I'd have eaten cereal straight from the box." Noah chuckled and walked into the kitchen. Melanie listened to the soft clinks and hums of the microwave, her body sinking deeper into the couch with every second. When he came back with a steaming plate of stir-fry, she managed to sit up and eat slowly, gratefully. As she finished her meal, she sighed and placed the plate on the coffee table. "You okay?" Noah asked, watching her closely. "Just worn out," she replied. "Everything hurts." Noah hesitated for a moment, then nodded toward the stairs. "Why don't you shower and change? I'll get your room ready, turn down the sheets." She started to protest, but he cut her off with a firm look. "Mel, you've done everything for this family since you married my dad. Let someone take care of you for once." Touched, she swallowed the lump in her throat and nodded. "Okay. Thanks, Noah." He smiled and helped her to her feet. She leaned heavily on the banister as she climbed the stairs, each step a painful reminder of her long day. When she reached her room, she found the bed neatly turned down, her favorite pajama set laid out on the edge, and a lavender-scented candle lit on her nightstand. She walked into the bathroom and turned on the shower, the steam rising instantly. As the hot water poured over her, she felt the stress of the day finally begin to melt away. Her muscles loosened, her mind quieted, and for the first time all day, she breathed deeply. When she stepped out and dried off, she reached for her pajamas, but her arms suddenly refused to cooperate. Her shoulder was stiff, possibly strained from lifting a patient earlier, and she couldn't quite pull the shirt over her head. She sat on the edge of the bed in her towel, frustration building. Every time she tried to lift her arms, pain flared across her back and shoulder. Just as she was about to lie down and give up, there was a knock at the door. "Mel, you okay?" Noah's voice was gentle. I can't get my shirt on," she admitted, her voice small and embarrassed. There was a pause. "Do you want me to come in and help?" She hesitated, then sighed. "Yeah, please." He stepped in, his expression instantly turning concerned when he saw her holding her shoulder. "Sit up straight," he instructed softly, coming to her side. "Let me see." Carefully, he touched her arm and rotated it slightly, watching her flinch. "You've strained your deltoid, probably from overuse. Here, I'll help you get dressed." She turned her back to him, her cheeks burning despite the situation. He picked up the soft pajama top and carefully guided her arms into the sleeves, lifting and adjusting with gentle precision. His hands were clinical, professional, the way a therapist would assist a patient. "There," he said once the shirt was on. "Now lie down, I'll help with your back." Before she could ask, he opened the drawer on her nightstand, where she kept her pain relief cream. He rubbed some between his palms and then slowly massaged it into her upper back and shoulders. Melanie winced at first, then sighed as the tension began to release. "You've got knots the size of tennis balls back here," Noah said quietly. "How long have you been pushing through this pain?" "Too long," she admitted. "You don't have to be a superhero every day, you know." "I try," she murmured. "But sometimes I forget I'm human too." He finished massaging the cream into her skin and handed her a glass of water. "Drink this and then rest. No screens, no alarms, just sleep." She nodded and laid back, pulling the blanket over herself. "Noah." "Yeah, thank you. You're a good man." He smiled softly. "You were always there for me growing up. Just returning the favor." Melanie closed her eyes as he turned off the light and gently closed the door behind him. The scent of lavender filled the room, and warmth spread through her chest, not just from the massage or the comfort of bed, but from the simple fact that someone cared. That night she slept deeply. In the days that followed, their bond grew stronger. Noah began helping around the house more, making meals, doing laundry, and encouraging Melanie to take better care of herself. They talked more too, about his job aspirations, about her early days as a nurse, about the grief they both still carried after his father passed 2 years ago. What started as a moment of physical exhaustion had become something deeper, an emotional healing between two people who, though not bound by blood, shared a profound connection. Noah never overstepped, always respectful, always kind. He reminded Melanie what it meant to be seen, to be supported, and to let someone else shoulder the weight now and then. One weekend, she woke to the smell of pancakes and found him in the kitchen flipping them with the confidence of a seasoned breakfast chef. "Look at you," she teased, leaning on the doorway. "Next, you'll be opening your own diner." He grinned. "Don't tempt me." They ate together, laughing about old sitcoms and awkward family reunions. And as spring turned to summer, the house no longer felt heavy with grief or silence. It felt alive again. One evening, as they sat on the porch watching the sunset, Melanie turned to Noah and said, "You know, when I married your dad, I hoped we'd be close. I just never imagined this kind of closeness. I feel lucky to have you." He looked down, humbled. "I feel lucky too. You've always treated me like your own, even when you didn't have to." She reached over and squeezed his hand. "You are my own, in every way that matters." They sat in silence, the pink and orange sky stretching above them. The wind carried the scent of the rose bushes Melanie planted years ago, and for the first time in a long while, everything felt right. And so, life continued. Not perfect, not without pain, but full of healing, support, and a deep, unwavering sense of family. Sometimes, the most meaningful help doesn't come from grand gestures. Sometimes, it's in the quiet moments when someone lifts your burden, helps you out of your tired skin, and reminds you that you're not alone.